Can you hear me? Hopefully. The one person that is watching right now. Allegedly. Okay. So first things first. I have a space station in orbit with 4 Kerbals on it, and it's been sitting up there for years with no supplies, and I just kind of ignored it. So just for the sake of getting everything back in order, I'm going to try to recover those guys. Let me see if I have a contract for that specifically, just so I can get some cash out of it. Hey, a contract to evacuate the station. Okay, that's perfect. I mean, it's a barely any money, but it's exactly what I'm looking for. So whatever. So the smart thing to do here would be to build a really simple. There's 4 Kerbals up there. I could just build a very simple rocket with a very simple crew capsule and dock, and then just land like normal. But I want a good excuse to use a full starship and properly land it with a proper starship. So let's do that instead. It's a huge waste of money, but whatever. So I just took the starship I had for that deep space mission and just swapped the engines out to be what I want for it, and also just did some tweaks to the RCS thrusters and stuff to make it easier to dock, because we're going to be doing a full docking and rendezvous. Again, I even if I did wanted to use the starship, I could just use my recorded missions and just have it do an automatic docking and recovery, but that's no fun. So first things first, let's put this thing on the launch pad. I'm just going to launch it fully uncrewed. I could put a Kerbal in there. I've got space for like 30 Kerbals on this thing, but whatever. I need to go through and optimize this at some point to make it way more affordable, but whatever. Assuming I recover this properly, the cost shouldn't be that great. Okay, so this is actually very far off the launch pad. Did not mean to do that, but whatever, it's fine. So I need to. Did I pull the? Okay, no. For a second, I got worried I pulled the solar panels off, but I did not. So I need to figure out when this thing's coming overhead. So there's no real great way to do this properly, like do this the quote-unquote right way. You just kind of gotta test and check, but I'm gonna use MechJeb instead. So, and also I thought it would be a really cool idea to put this station, when I first built it, on a inclined orbit, kind of like the real ISS is. That's a really stupid idea because it's a huge pain to dock with, but we're gonna have to deal with that anyway. So first things first, we need to make sure we launch into the proper orbit, because we're not going to be able to, like, the real missions to the ISS, they time it so that they're at the right inclination and the right, like, phase angle, which is hard to describe, but it's the proper angle if you want to launch to rendezvous straight with the station. But that requires a lot of planning, and I'm not going to do that. So instead, we're just going to launch into the proper orbit, and then we'll do a rendezvous from there. So let's do ascent guidance, and then launch in the plane of target is what I want. So that's in an hour and 23 minutes. So if I engage the autopilot, that should take me to the right time. Technically not ideal because my liquid methane is slowly boiling off in the booster, but that's fine. It's not going to be a significant amount. It's boiling off at, 0.06, and I have 768,000, so I'll lose like 0.001% of my fuel, which I think I can survive that. Again, this is a ridiculously overpowered rocket when all I'm doing is I'm going to a 200-kilometer orbit, docking with the station, and then coming home. Like, there's basically no payload. other than a couple of crew. What? Oh, whoops. Okay, I had my autopilot turned on. So it's launching for me. I don't actually want, but let's turn that off and just do it manually because it's pitching over weird. Oh god, stop. Also, this is flying very, very slowly. I think that's right. Okay, turn this thing back. It's not the direction I want to go. This is the direction I want to go. Roughly. So we're off to a great start already. Also, I changed out the engines on the booster to make them a little bit cheaper, but I didn't. Like, it's way lower thrust now. It's slowly picking back up. Oh shit, I didn't account for launching into the right plane. I don't actually know what the inclination of that station is off the top of my head. There's no good way to pause. You know what? I'm gonna revert that to launch because I need to figure. That was a real messy launch. So let me fix that. Okay. So let me get back out here, find the station, set it as a target. So if I don't want to use the mech jeb for the takeoff, I could just use... Oh, it absolutely could have still gotten to space. It was just going to be messy, and I don't want to do that. So I can instead just use this, so in 1 hour, 23 minutes here. So let's use that just to be less cheaty. So... But I need to figure out what the inclination is. So it's 60 degrees, so I need to launch... If not... Okay, so up. My ship is upside down, I think. That's a problem, but whatever. So I need to launch up and... like here-ish. Because this is 45, this is... 0 effectively. It says 90, but it's complicated. So I think I need to launch like in between these two just to get close. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just close enough. So let's fast forward to this ascending node, which will put, again, the station won't be directly overhead, but it'll put the launch site in line with the orbit of the station, and then I can actually do the more careful timing after that. Okay, so now I'm 30 seconds away. That's close enough. So let's wait a couple more seconds. And this much precision isn't really necessary considering I'm not going to get a perfect 60-degree launch in here, just eyeballing it. But good enough. So why the engines weren't turned on there? I lost anything when the launch clamps bumped into me. That's fine. Got a side effect of kind of getting me to the right orientation. Whoop. So you can see the pink thing that's kind of faded out on the compass is kind of the direction I'm trying to get to. So that would be equatorial going straight this way. I'm going 60 degrees north of that, basically. Just waiting to get some speed before I start to slowly pitch over, because this thing does not have a lot of thrust to weight on the first stage. Slowly pitching over. Be real careful that I don't lose control of this thing. I have a a lot of engine gimbal down here, but not a lot of thrust away. See, my relative inclination versus the station is slowly dropping because I'm, you know, right now I have the velocity of the planet that is contributing to me going equatorial, so I'm slowly canceling that out by flying in the right direction, basically. Don't pitch over too hard. Booster is so comically small compared to real super heavy. I also launch with an empty fuel tank. Realistically, I would just take that fuel tank out to save the dry mass of it, but that's that would require rejiggering the entire, like all thrusters and everything, and that would just been a lot of work. Relative inclination is down to about 26 degrees, so we're getting there. Weird shadow effects, I gotta figure out how to fix that. It's terrible. This gets down to about 300-ish meters per second. I'm going to stage, flip the booster around, launch it back to the launch site, hopefully. To be safe, let's cut it there. Stage. Uh-oh. Slightly. Down, get a little bit of thrust. Go prograde. Turn this around. Turn this back around. RCS. Trying to get straight retrograde, not straight retrograde. Come on, a little bit above that. Now we can switch back, this thing up to full thrust, and continue on our way. Booster swinging around, going back home, hopefully. Right now it was on a trajectory following us, but now it's spinning itself back around, going back home, in theory. See, whereas previously I had 6 vacuum engines, now I've got the 6 vacuum engines that are locked, and then I've got the 3 gimbaled ones. The gimbals are probably going to clip into the vacuum ones, like the sea level ones are probably going to clip into the vacuum ones because real Starship has, like, real rockets compared to Kerbal rockets have much smaller engines relative to the like, engines in real life have a way higher thrust per, like, unit of size, physical size, so I have to make these way bigger relative to the size of the ship compared to a real one. Where did that booster end up? Oh, it's kind of in the ocean over here. That's not ideal, but we'll see what my recovery percentage is there. So my relative inclination is off by a few degrees, but I can kind of futz it by... So right now I'm traveling this direction, and I'm turning to the side to try to pull my orbit towards the station a little bit more. I was at 6.5, now I'm at 5.1. I want that to be as close to 0 as possible. So I'm wasting a bit of fuel by not, you know, I'm getting a bit of extra drag, and I'm wasting a bit of fuel by not firing in my direction of movement. But that's kind of what's necessary to get where I'm trying to go. Should have way more fuel than I need. Down to 3 degrees. Relative inclination. Under 3. Just waiting to see the mark. Because there's the boosters. You can see a little dot down there's the booster. I'm just waiting to see what the recovery percentage is when it automatically lands. 2.4 degrees. Alright, got recovered flight. 97%, so not ideal, but I got probably about the majority of the cost of the path. I want apoapsis to be, like, the station's at 200 kilometers, so I probably want to get to like 150, because that'll give me a chance to, maybe 120. That'll make it easier for me to catch up with the station and dock with it. That, uh-oh. Now my inclination's going the wrong way, I guess. Tilted that way. Okay, well, my apoapsis is now at 144, so that's probably fine. Thrusters. So I've got way more thrusters, which is kind of ridiculous, but so I'm at about 3 degree relative inclination. That's fine. That's not ideal, but it's fine. So right now the station is probably on the far side of the planet. So I'm right here. Station is, it's actually not that far behind. Although the fact that it's behind me means I should actually boost up to a higher orbit. Because higher orbits move slower. And actually I can turn off these engines now because since I'm now in orbit, or now in space I should say, I don't really need the I can just focus on the efficiency of the big engines as opposed to the inefficiency of the small ones. Okay, so now I'm at a 250 kilometer orbit. So that is... So this down here, the yellowish line, is the orbit of the station. The blue line is my max orbit. So I will circularize my orbit at the top, and then I will be a little bit slower than the station because I'll be higher up. And generally the higher in the orbit you are, the slower you move. That'll give the station time to catch up with me, and then I will find the point that the station's just about to catch up with me, and I'll drop my orbit down so I can rendezvous with it. If that makes any sense. Also, I can deploy these now. Got my docking port back here. That'll be where I attach with the station. Should have plenty of open ports on that station. So now we can just sort of fast forward to the apoapsis. I've got 950 meters per second just to dock with the station, and then I have a whole separate, I have separate tanks just for landing, so I have plenty of fuel left right now. Okay, so now I need a point. Get upgrade. Well, that was abrupt. Do I have any lights on this one? That... I think that might have been... there might be a graphical bug going on right now because this looks very... Oh, there it is. Okay. So I do have these lights. That was a bug. These really tiny, barely visible lights. God, these RCS thrusters are hideous looking. Alright, so now I'm just trying to get myself into a circular orbit. Approximately. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's just enough just to make it a bit easier for me to intercept the station. It might actually make sense, depending on how far behind the station is, I might not actually need a circular orbit. I might just do one where the apoapsis is 250 and the periapsis is 200. Because that'll mean that each orbit, the station catches up with me a little bit, and then after a few orbits, hopefully it'll be roughly at my periapsis. See, these little arrows, the pink one over here and the orange one here are like my next closest approaches. So as I accelerate, I'm accelerating, which is putting more energy in my orbit, which is pushing my orbit up in altitude, which means that I'll be moving slower overall. If that, like, it's... Orbital mechanics are weird like that. Okay, I am going to actually push this periapsis up higher because it's going to be a while before I can intercept it properly. So now what I can do, we'll do this on the day side of the planet because I don't want to dock at night. Let's add a maneuver, and let's drop this, drop it down so that it's at about 200 kilometers. So where's my... Okay, that's not 200 kilometers. You know, I should fix my inclination first. It's only a couple degrees. So if I target the station, my next node is at down here. So let me add a maneuver. I'm just going to fire normal to my orbit. So you can see, like, my orbit is a little bit below the green yellowish one is where I'm going. The blue one is the blue one's where I'm currently going. The green one's where I want to be going. So if I pick the node that, you know, the ascending and the descending nodes are the points where the orbits intersect. So that's the point where you have to do your maneuver if you want to actually switch your orbit. So if I set up a maneuver at that point, I can fire normal to the orbit, so basically perpendicular to the orbit, and that will twist the entire orbit around that. You know, if you figure put an axis through, like a straight line through the planet between these two nodes, and then you put a hula hoop on that pipe that's going through the planet. The hula hoop is my orbit, and I'm basically pushing the hula hoop to twist the orbit to where I want it to go, so that it matches up with the other hula hoop. And Right now I'm eyeballing this, but I could probably just do this. So here, it shows post-burn inclination, post-burn relative inclination. So here I can adjust these nodes. See, this relative inclination is going down right now, so I keep doing that until it's as close to 0 as possible. So that's 0.008. That is plenty close. So that's a 100 meter per second burn. You see, these, even just switching a 3-degree inclination change is still 100 meters per second. That's why you want to launch as close as possible, because, you know, if that was 3 degrees, imagine if I launched equatorial, then I would have to do a 60-degree burn, which would be several thousand meters per second to do that, to fix that. So if you're launching to something that's not equatorial, you want to be as close to possible, or as close to the right inclination when you launch as possible. Otherwise, things get real messy. So I've got that node set up. So let's get myself oriented to it. And then in 9 minutes, I gotta burn that node. Nice thing about doing, you know, not equatorial orbits is you get to see these fun auroras. Okay, so inclination is now 0.02 degrees, which is better than 3. So now we're in basically the exact same plane as the station. We want to rendezvous with it. We're currently in a higher orbit. The station is behind us. That means that over time, with every subsequent orbit, the station will gradually catch up with us because it's going a little bit faster. So we just need to find the point where if we drop our orbit, we will come down right on top of the station. So we will put a node down here. Just randomly, I'm putting it back here because because that will change my orbit, or change my altitude on the lights of the daytime side of the planet, and I would like to rendezvous during the day because it's prettier. So I'm just gonna drop this down until the post-burn altitude is about 200 kilometers, which is what the station is at. So that's 200. So you can see I start to get these intersect markers again. So if I do this on the next orbit, the station will be closer to me. Okay, so the other orbits that are on screen, this one is, I don't even remember what this one is. I have a bunch of old stages for old missions that are floating around. So like this one here is a ScanSat, which is a satellite for scanning the planet, just to get some science and to also do some research. This is bigger booster. I don't know. That's probably a booster from some old stage sometime. This one here is I believe it's a nuclear rocket that I made a while ago to make it's a big hydrogen rocket for going to Duna that is just super inefficient. This back here is the moon, and then the moon's got its own satellites and stuff orbiting. I don't know why the name of that one is sitting there. That's just probably a UI bug. Oh, it disappeared. There we go. Oh, and it's back. Okay, well, fuck it. That's there. Yeah, this one is 7-man lander launcher probe. I'm not very good at naming my crafts, so I don't know what that is. It's probably a transfer stage from another planet that I just forgot. I should go through and clean those up at some point. Anyway, now that I have a maneuver planned that is, so my new apoapsis after this burn will still be 250 kilometers, but my periapsis will be 200, which is the same altitude as the station I'm trying to dock with. So if I do it on my next orbit, the station, see right now the station is like, almost a quarter of the, maybe like a sixth of an orbit around the planet behind me. If I wait one orbit, it'll be quite a bit closer. It'll be... Cat, please shut up. You're being very annoying. Okay, Cat. Get down. Get down. Stop being annoying. I can't... apologize. My cat is very annoying sometimes and is just standing there right next to my monitor screaming at me. He's fine. He's just standing here. Just being grumpy because I'm not paying attention to him. I gave him food as soon as I got home because I always do. I play with him a little bit, I brush him, and then I give him food. But that's not good enough because he's a little asshole. He's got plenty of food, he's too fat. And now he's just moping away. Anyway, the fuck was I trying to explain? Right now the station is about a sixth of an orbit behind me, something like that. Quarter to a sixth, who knows. If I do this burn, then on the next orbit it'll be, the station will catch up a little bit, it'll be, 330 kilometers behind me. If I instead do that burn another orbit in the future, it'll be ahead of me, I think. Okay, so I can't do it that far, but I can go back to this, and then I can just adjust when I do it. Wait, did I fuck that up? That doesn't look right. Something looks weird here. No, my cat's just in the other room yelling. What an asshole. So basically, I'm just adjusting the point at which I do this burn. Okay, there we go. So this is not ideal because it's on the far side of the planet, but I can just get close to the station and then hang out and wait for the orbit to go around. So basically, if I were to do that burn on the next orbit, it would be too soon because the station would still be behind me. Whereas if I did it on the 2 orbits from now, it would be too late and the station would be ahead of me and I'd have to wait a whole bunch more orbits for it to catch up. So if I instead do the burn 1.5 orbits from now, it will be over here. I'm just trying to fine-tune to get as close of a intercept as possible. It's 11 kilometers, 7.5, 4.6, 1.7, 0.3. Okay, that's too far. 0.4, 0.2. Okay, a fifth of a kilometer is probably close enough for a rocket that is several hundred meters long. Or that is like 100, no, I don't know how tall this rocket is. It's like 50 meters, something like that. Okay, so in an orbit and a half, I'm going to burn retrograde to drop my orbit down, and I will come down right on top of the space station. And then once I'm right next to the space station, I will burn retrograde again, and that'll drop my apoapsis down, so I will be in a circular orbit right next to the station. Basically perfectly just floating there next to the station, because we'll both be in the same orbit at the same speed, approximately. So, let's do this burn. Orbital rendezvous it sounds very complicated, and it kind of is, but once you figure it out, it's more of just like, okay, you just gotta go through the steps, and it's pretty straightforward. The annoying part is trying to do it, right now I'm trying to do it when I'm on the daytime side, which is hard to get perfect. You could also use this to figure out the exact transfer angle, but that's just excessively complicated for me. Just do it by guess and check, basically. So if I come down here, I can see what my closest intersect is. And right now it's 10, so I think I was burning off axis a little bit there. So is that... Well, down here it's showing 0.4, so this might not this might be wrong. Oh, wait, no, okay, I was looking at the wrong intersect. So this is my second intersect, whereas this one is my first, which is 400 meters. I thought that was saying 400 kilometers, but no, it's 413 meters. So you can see right now I'm still above it because that burn doesn't, my initial orbit was higher. You see the station is just a little bit below me, and the half an orbit it takes me to drop my altitude down will be just enough for that station to catch up with me, and we'll just intersect perfectly. Hopefully. Trying to see if I can see it. It should be highlighted somewhere because I have it targeted. Although it's currently... What's the distance? It's only 150 kilometers away. You'd think I'd be able to see it a little bit. It should be... Oh, there it is. A little dot. Okay. Let's put a quick save down just to be safe, and then we'll watch that dot get pretty close. Potentially dangerously close. Although it's going to be on the night side, but I'll do my circularization burn right next to it, and then wait till I'm on the light side to actually try docking. Oh, it's getting bigger than a dot, or it's getting to be a bigger dot. It's 40 kilometers, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Okay. It's probably close enough I should start. Because now it's within, I think it's either 15 or 25 kilometers when the game starts actually rendering and calculating physics for other objects. So. Oh. There's another ship that's 85 kilometers just kind of scooting in between the two of us. So, whereas when you're at a far distance, you kind of got to do those transfer maneuvers with, you know, just prograde and retrograde. When you get close, you can kind of just wait until you're right next to the station and then burn retrograde relative to the, because, you know, this has, or KSP has orbit, surface, and target, you know, speed indicators. So, retrograde in orbit is, you know, or prograde in orbit is opposed to my direction of travel around the planet, or is in the direction of travel around the planet. Retrograde is opposed to the direction of travel. So if I want to slow down orbitally, I use retrograde. If I want to speed up, I use prograde. And that'll, you know, it's just basically direction of movement. But then you can switch it to target mode, and then it shows it you know, my retrograde relative to the target means that if right now if I'm heading towards the target, it means I'm pointing directly away from it. And if I want to slow down relative to the target, so right now I'm moving 42 meters per second towards it, so I point to retrograde relative to the target, and then when I burn, it'll be slowing me down relative to the station. Quick save again. So now, apparently 75 seconds is my closest approach, so I'm just going to get a little bit closer. I'm at 2.5 kilometers. Oh, big hiccup. That might have been the station just loading in properly, like graphically. 30 seconds. These Kerbals that have been up in this station for several years now with no food are probably going to be happy to see me. Hopefully. It looks so small, but I know it's not a small station. It's probably just the light. Alright, so I'm at 400 meters, let's start burning. So my velocity relative to the target is dropping. Now going 3 meters per second past the target. 2. I'm running at like 1% thrust here. Okay, now I'm in pretty much the exact same orbit as the station. You can see they're basically just overlapped. So I could technically do the docking now, but that would be real messy. So I'm just gonna fast forward to the light side of the planet so you can actually see what's going on. Which actually should be coming up pretty soon. There we go. Start of light. Okay, so if I want to move towards the station, I'm still 400 meters away, so this is technically kind of dicey, but I can just point my ship straight at the station. Don't mind the way it does that. That's a weird physics thing with the way that time warp works, so just don't worry about the fact that the station warps around like that. So normally, if you're in orbit and you're trying to get somewhere, you don't point directly at it. But because we're so close here and we're so relative, going relatively the same velocity, it works. But if you have a ship that's like a quarter of a way around the planet and you do this, nothing's going to work. Okay, so now I'm going 12 meters per second towards it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to point at my direction of movement, and then I will stop using my main engines and switch to using thrusters in my docking mode. So I'll get about 100, maybe 50 meters away, and then I will use the thrusters to cancel out that 12 meters per second. Although, I should probably start doing it now because I don't actually know... Oh, hang on, this is a problem. Because I'm not controlling the ship from the right control point at the moment. Don't mind this. This is just KSP being KSP. Control from here. Okay. So now, still being weird, but that's fine, I guess. Okay, so I'm slowing down slowly. I don't know why these thrusters are going crazy over here, but I maybe overdid it with the thrusters on this thing. Oh, this thing does not slow down very quick. So I've only bled off 1 meter per second, and I'm just sort of drifting past the station right now. Alright, let's just point this entire thing retrograde and do it the old-fashioned way. Assuming it'll let me. So yeah, 12 meters per second there was a little bit too much. I also don't actually know where the proper... I think the docking ports I want are on this side and not this side. Oh no, nope, it is this one, I think. Okay, that actually works out fine then, I guess. Okay, come on, turn faster. You have... Use your thrusters, you son of a bitch. If I do this... I don't know if that actually works properly, but... The way RCS thrusters work in this game is super inefficient and super unrealistic and pretty annoying, but it's just kind of the way it has to be at the moment. Okay. So. So let's do this and accelerate towards it, but we'll get to 1 meter per second instead of 12 this time. Then we are going to switch to our docking port, control it from here, let's open it up, and then we are going to get that docking port pointed straight at our target. If I aim my camera at this, here's the station, this is where I want to dock, so why won't you let me target it? Am I not close enough yet? Okay, well I guess I gotta get closer first. Let's twist the ship around a bit, because I want to be pointing nose up, because I don't want my solar panels crashing into it. So I believe the station is oriented normally, as in pointed towards the normal vector, which is towards the North Pole. Okay, so that's not perfect, but it's close enough for now. So now is the part that it gets complicated, where I need to actually I need to get this thing oriented properly. So I'm flying from here, and I'm trying to get attached to there. So right now you can see I'm above the station, so I'm trying to push myself. I'm trying to get some velocity going downwards, so that'll get me, more accurately lined up. I could also put some thrust in here to push me this way, because I'm also to the right a little bit. And I have this docking indicator, which is a much easier way to do this, much more accurate way to do this. So this circle here is my current velocity vector. The big green X is kind of where I want it. It's kind of the direction I'm going towards, which is where I want. It's really hard to. It's way more intuitive when you do it than when you look at it. But the green X is kind of what I want to push towards the center. With the green X, you want to be here, and that means you're perfectly lined up, velocity-wise. So I'm pushing my velocity vector a little bit below this, which will then push it towards the middle. The big orange thing is where my target is relative to my docking port. That's not too important right now because right now I'm just trying to get lined up from a long distance. Once I get closer, it'll be more relevant. Put a little bit of velocity in going towards it. Just to close that distance a bit. And I could accelerate more to make this go faster, but because this thing is not, kind of a big motherfucker I got here, so I don't want to be too hasty about it because it does not slow down super quick. See, the green X is slowly working its way upwards, so I don't want to. So I'm pushing my velocity vector up, which is actually me slowing down because I don't want to, just to make sure I'm not going too fast. Just waiting for it to give me the ability to target the docking, because from a distance you just target the ship. Once you get close, you want to target the docking port. Push this a little bit further down. Okay, so you can see I'm slowly drifting left, and I'm a little bit more quickly drifting down. That's what I want. So right at the point, like by the end of this, you want the orange thing in the middle, you want the green cross in the middle, you want your velocity vector in the middle, and that'll push you right into the docking port properly. All right, now I'm close enough I can set the docking port specifically as my target. Makes it a little bit more accurate. I can use this to specifically aim my ship at the docking port, just to make sure that I'm oriented the right way. Yeah, you see the green X is the green cross is getting a little bit closer. And as I drift downwards, the orange circle is getting a little bit closer. Basically, once those are lined up, that means that I am perfectly in line between my docking port and that docking port. And then I just want to make sure my velocity is right in the center too, which means I'm going straight towards it. Then there's also this little thing up top, which is how you align rotation. For something like if you're building a station, you want that to be pretty much perfect, because otherwise it gets all weird and everything is at an angle to each other. But because I'm just docking, it doesn't have to be perfect, although it's pretty close to perfect regardless. All right, so green cross is nearly there. I'm going to actually start accelerating a bit more. You can't really tell easily. I think I might have screwed something up in orienting these RCS ports, because some of them are firing when they probably shouldn't be. Okay, so now pretty much all my velocity is pointing towards the station, which is exactly what I want. I'm a little bit at an angle to it still, but it's sort of cleaning itself up. Down to 90 meters. Let me turn the docking force on the port up, because it's got a lot of ship to accommodate for, or compete against, a lot of mass to fight with. I'm gonna actually pull these solar panels in. I don't think they'll interfere, but I don't want to break them if I don't need to. And I got plenty of power for now. All right, I'm gonna slow myself down a little bit because I'm going kind of quick. Let's get down to like 1.5 meters per second. I am a little bit off center. Slow myself down again. Hit caps lock, which turns me to like the lower. Basically, it turns all your throttle controls down a bit. Okay, so this isn't perfectly lined up, but I think it should be fine as long as I'm going slow enough. Okay. 0.2. All right, going 0.1 meter per second right now. Alright, and bang, there we go. Perfect. You can sort of see the progression of technology here. This was a gigantic station when I built it, and now I'm just docking this thing to it casually. So, now I can transfer my Kerbals over. These very, very hungry Kerbals, who apparently don't even get portraits because they're so hungry. Oh, wait. They are in no man's land, I guess. I don't know what's going on here. That's not right. But if I can figure out where they are, I can transfer them over. There's a couple. So I have crew compartments in here. So there's one. I think that's two. Alright, there we go. They are all on the Starship now. Now we can head home and hopefully do a proper Starship landing. It's pretty cool. I really wish I gotta figure out how to get the shadows being less shitty in this on my save, because some of the weird shadow artifacting and stuff is, it's actually, yeah, like this weird griminess is just terrible, and it really ruins the look of the whole thing. Also, the station's supposed to have lights on, but for some reason it doesn't. There we go. That would have made it nicer to dock with. Okay. So the hard part is I want to land this as close to the Space Center as possible, but because I'm on this stupid inclined orbit, because I'm an idiot who put the station on an orbit like this, that's a lot harder to time than it really ought to be. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to undock with the station first and just get that out of here, because that'll make the game run a little bit cleaner, not having this thing loaded. There's the undock button. Undock. So now I should be able to just push myself back a bit. Close that up. This one was, I think, I don't recall exactly. The center part was one launch. I think the two side parts were one launch. Probably 5 total, something like that. Maybe it's I mean, realistically, the way it's built, it probably should have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But I just got lazy at a certain point and started building bigger rockets to cram multiple modules into one launch. Do I still have my little tug attached too? Because that's always fun. Where is he? He's on here somewhere, right? I wouldn't have undocked him. That's weird. Okay, there's supposed to be a little tug attached who would grab the modules from the, from the rocket stage that put it up here, and then it had a bunch, rather than putting thrusters on every individual module, I would just have a little tug that had its own thrusters that would grab onto one side and basically shove it into the docking port on the other side. I don't know where it is, though. It's just a little CubeSat looking thing. That's weird. I don't know why he's not there. Well, rip. Tug guy. Maybe after I just decided that, oh, well, the station's built, I don't need him anymore. Okay, so first things first, let's get to a slightly lower orbit. So that means we orbit faster, which means it's easier for us to get to, to happen to cross over the Space Center when we want to. Bye. In real life, you would never fire that close to a space station. You would slowly drift away for like hundreds of kilometers, and then you would start to fire your engines. You don't launch, superheated rocket exhaust into the station's solar panels and shit. Okay, so I can unselect the station. Yeah, let me just get down to a lower periapsis. It's taking a surprising amount of fuel. Why is this... What's going on here? Why is my apoapsis going up? I'm pointing red... Oh, shit. Okay, that was a mistake. I'm still controlling it from this port. So I'm actually firing at a weird angle, like, I'm changing my inclination right now. That's a fuck up. Always watch out when you're doing docking stuff, where you're controlling your ship from. There we go. Control from the actual core of the ship. So that was where my retrograde was from here. This is what actual orbital retrograde looks like. So I was just firing my engines into nowhere, and like, why is my orbit not changing? There we go. That's better. That's more what I'm expecting. Okay, 100 kilometers. That's good. Good for me. So now let's get to the apoapsis and do the same thing there and just circularize. I'm just gonna use MechJeb because I'm lazy. Bye, station. I'll probably never see you again because you serve no purpose anymore. Because the game doesn't have good motivation for having static stations. Outside of contract, you'll get a contract that's like, hey, build a station here. And then maybe you'll get another contract later to, like, rotate the crew of the station. But... Also, I just completed the contract despite not actually having landed them on the planet yet. That's weird. Apparently, I performed an emergency landing on Kerbin and didn't realize it, according to the contract. So this says I only have 200 meters per second here, but again, I have that header tank and I have an extra tank down here that should be fully fueled that I just have turned off right now. So I will have plenty of fuel for landing, assuming I can aim it right. So technically I can land anywhere on the planet. Like, I could just fire retrograde until I'm in a suborbital trajectory and then just land wherever. But A, I want to land at the Space Center for money purposes. Because you get more money back the closer you are to the Space Center when you land. And then B, I want to land at the Space Center because the Space Center is very flat. And the area around the Space Center is very flat. Whereas the rest of the planet, not quite so flat. And much like in life, flat is what you want here. It's just better. Less back problems. Hey, guy in Twitch chat is here. I just doing a kind of a basic routine mission to. I have a space center that had some Kerbals on it that have been there for forever, and I'm just kind of pulling them out to cover them and get them back to the space center and just kind of consolidate all my resources so I can actually get to building the next big mission up. So let's get this thing prepared for reentry. Actually, let me get my solar panels out to get a little bit more energy, just to make sure I'm not low. Oh, that's you? Wasn't that... Were you the guy that was chatting the other day? And it was you the whole time? And I thought it was just some rando Twitch guy? Or was that a different guy starting with T? Well, shit. Here I thought I was getting E famous, and it was just question mark the whole time. Just... I don't know how to say your name verbally, because question mark is hard to emphasize properly. There was a Fortnite guy and there's one other guy too, but still. Okay, so I've got the Kerbals off the station. I'm currently in a lower orbit right now, just trying to figure out where I want to land. So I'll turn my trajectories mod on, which will help me fine-tune it properly. Let me target the the space center, and then on my descent I want to go prograde to the horizon. My final landing will be 0 at low altitude, probably like 30 degrees. High I want to be like 60-ish. Entry I want like 60-ish. This is all Starship specific stuff that you probably wouldn't have to do. You wouldn't have to do with 90% of missions. Okay, so Space Center's over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set up a node on this side of the planet that is retrograde. And then I will tweak that until it's about as close as possible to its Space Center. Okay, so adjust it this way to get it towards the equator. And then just start pumping the orbits until I'm pretty close, and then tweak it from there. Okay, so this is going to overshoot the Space Center, but I think I can just use my, actually, I was going to say, if I was on an equatorial orbit, I could just adjust my pitch to, get more drag on the reentry in order to make sure I hit my target. But because I'm coming in at a weird inclination here, that's going to be a lot harder to do. But if I overshoot this way, that might work. Although I don't know... Okay, so I'll be coming in like this. So I actually want to go north of the Space Center, not south. This is one part of the game where the UI really kind of failed. Like, you just kind of got to know how to futz with the AI, or with the UI. Because, like, I have to look over here to be like, okay, this is where I'm actually going to come down. I'm going to come down on this side of the planet. I'll be going from south to north, which means that I've got to look over here to see relative targets and see, okay, I need to be on the north end, and then from there I can adjust my pitch in order to get the right amount of drag to get the right landing point that I want. That should be relatively close. Still not super happy with it. If I do one more orbit, that's way too far behind. Okay. So on here, if I do descent and I do a higher pitch angle, that'll show me more accurately where I'm going to land. Some weird fuckery here that I'm not getting the landing point I'm looking for. You know, let's just for the sake of the stream, I'm just gonna save here and then try it here. And if I'm off by a little bit, then so be it. If I'm off by a lot of it, then I can just reload the save. Okay, so got a maneuver node. 77 meters per second, which is almost perfect because that'll almost empty my existing fuel tanks, which will... On reentry, if you want the most efficient reentry possible, you want your ship to be as light as possible, because the lighter your ship, the more impact the force of the atmosphere is going to have on it, and it's going to slow it down faster. It's like throwing a rock versus throwing a ball of paper. It's... gravity's pulling on them the same speed, and even if they're the same size, they're hitting the same amount of drag from the air, but the rock has enough mass that it just kind of forces the air out of the way, whereas the paper is just going to get hammered by the air and slow down way quicker. So having these fuel tanks empty means that I will be able to slow down faster, and also my terminal velocity will be a lot lower. Ooh, I don't want to... Just got to do a few orbits to wait for the Space Center to be in the right point, or the right position relative to me. Alright, let me get myself pointed the right direction again. I have not mastered the flip maneuver with the ship in the game yet. It's still pretty dicey, so there might, even if I get to the right landing point, it's still going to take me a few tries to really land it properly, if I had to guess. It should give you a decent idea of how both I intend to land this thing when I get good at it, and also how it happens in real life, more or less. Oh, that's probably why my burn was so, or why I was having so much trouble getting the trajectory in. I'm pointing at a real weird angle to re-enter here. That's fine. That's fine. Oh, and the sound turned off. Apparently that's a known bug with version 1.12, is that the sound just randomly turns off sometimes. Especially after time warping. Okay, that's probably close enough. Now, let's get these solar panels in. Okay, so I'm going to do the first part of the reentry is going to be on the dark side, but then I'll skim around onto the light side, and it should be fine. So now I got to turn myself prograde. And then tilt up above prograde. My orientation right. All right. Let's get these on screen. Let's throw another quick save down. And then I also need to, before I forget, I need to turn my vacuum engines off because they're not going to be useful for landing. Turn my gimbaled sea level engines on. I need to turn this fuel tank on so I can get fuel from there, and I need to get my header tank. Let's just open this. Get that header tank turned on. So my main fuel tank and the secondary one here are both empty, but I have this little one up top and the little one at the bottom, and together they should help me keep my center of gravity kind of pointed the right direction. Hopefully. Between those two I have 941 meters per second, which is not a ton, but between the amount of the amount of velocity I should bleed off just re-entering, I should be okay. Now I should be able to just fast forward a little bit. It's maybe a bit annoying that it's hard to set your orientation relative to the planet. So as you orbit, your intended orientation starts to change. Gotta be careful. I have all these thrusters, and I'm gonna actually turn some of these thrusters off. Turn that off. Just because when I use the thrusters for orientation, that's good. I want them, but I don't want them to be dumped because the way that they are used in the engine here is just really weird, and I don't want them wasting fuel if I don't need to. These ones are the pitch thrusters, and those are really the only ones I kind of need. In fact, I'm going to even turn off the bottom pitch ones because those are mainly just for docking. And real Starship also doesn't have those. Now it should just be these ones on either side and these ones on either side that are turned on, hopefully. That looks like what's going on here. Okay, good. Now I'm just waiting 5 minutes for re-entry. So let's fast forward a bit. Okay. Nearly there. Let me get my pitch fixed because it's kind of crazy, and I'm doing a little bit of a lean back right now. Let me also change my camera so I'm actually able to tell where I'm going. I want to re-enter upside down. You know, I'll leave, stop. I'll leave these thrusters on so I have yaw control too. Not that it shouldn't be super important, but still good to have. All right, 1 minute. All right, I'm now in the atmosphere. I'm gonna speed up through this early part of it. Let me actually quick save again. It probably would have been smart to come in a little bit less shallow, because it's gonna give me a lot more room for error, but it's probably fine. You know, do a harder initial burn to bleed off more speed, so I come in a bit of a deeper, or come in. Basically, I just come in less shallow, but in reality, you want to come in as shallow as possible. But that also requires you to calculate out, hundreds of kilometers worth of reentry distance and like perfect aerodynamics, which is a lot harder to do in game. Where is my... Oh, that's not right. Okay, so we're going to need to go real harsh on the... like way high, way above the intended re-entry angle, because something got fucked up and I'm coming down way faster than I'm supposed to be. Actually open the flaps more just to get a little bit more drag. So I am bleeding off velocity, which is in turn going to very slowly pull this marker down. Very slowly. And I want that X to be on top of this X before I am on top of that X. So ideally you'd be coming in at like a 60 or 70 degree angle and just sort of, because you actually want to use the lift of the vehicle, the shape of the vehicle to get a little bit of lift just to, slow yourself down a little bit extra. But, because the more time you spend in the upper atmosphere and the less you spend in the deep atmosphere generally is better. But, at least in reality. But in this, I kind of just want to get to the ground. And I want to get to the ground accurately. So this might be kind of screwy with where I'm coming in from. If I keep this really harsh, like almost like basically 90 degree angle, if I can maintain that, I might be okay. God, I just hate these shadows. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to bleed off enough here. There is the one emergency tactic I could use, which is just pitch over, point retrograde, and burn a little bit, and then go back to my regular re-entry. Alright, that should be good. Hopefully that's enough. Use like 100 meters per second delta V, which I don't really want to use, but, gotta do what you gotta do. Okay, that should actually... It's still gonna be tough, but that should at least give me a chance of getting the right, hitting the space center. Don't you dare walk in front of my monitor right now. You stupid motherfucker. Stay over there. Oh, and he immediately walks in front of my monitor. Move. Yeah, move. Move. Shh. My frame rate's just shit. I'm getting 10 FPS for no reason. Actually, I can lean back a little bit, because that'll actually give me lift in the opposite direction, which is kind of what I want right now. Basically force my ship downwards. I don't think I'm going to make it on target. Just have to hope there's something flat over here, I guess. Alright, let's do this one more time just to try and get closer. Again, this is very stupid and very not intended tactic, but it's also burning up the minimal fuel that I have. Okay, that should be something I can actually manage to adjust for and get that tiny bit of extra distance, or at least as much as possible. That was only another 150 meters per second. It's landing on less than 600 is going to be dicey, but I think I can do it. Hopefully. Whoa, why are you tilting back so hard? You get over there. Okay, so there might be some center of mass weirdness. Because, so let me actually pop open this thing. Oh, the top fuel tank's empty, that's why. There we go, let's dump some fuel into that. That will move my center of mass up, which then means that these top flaps actually start to do something. Okay, so now I'm at a point where I have my thrusters off a little bit, or off for now. So I can just start to use just the flaps to determine my angle of attack. And now that I've said that, I'm sure something's going to go horribly wrong, but... here. This is the reason I really like that mod where you can record launches, because like this is fun to do. Like it's kind of it's fun and it's satisfying to get right, but it's not something you want to do every single launch. So it's cool to be able to do, you know, you do it once really well and you're rewarded for doing it really well, because it means your subsequent launches will be way cheaper because you do it, you know, you do it optimally. But at the same time, it doesn't. It means that once you do it once really well, you don't need to do it again unless you want to do it, or if you know you think you can do it better. Ooh. Barely keeping this thing in control. Oh. This is way more squirrely than it usually is. I don't know if it's just because I have so little payload in here or what. I may be undershooting the Space Center right now. Oh nope, I'm coming in pretty hot actually. I'm just not used to coming in from this orientation. So Space Center's right there. I actually gotta... I think I need to fly, you know, more like a plane a little bit, just so I can get that extra distance and not bleed off too much speed. Okay, just stabilize a little bit. God, this thing is being squirrely. Because with the nose down, flying, you know, close to horizontal, you can actually get a fair bit of glide out of this thing. Although I came down way too shallow this time. Oh, too much, too much. So I'm probably gonna have to do a water landing here. I'm definitely gonna have to do a water landing here. If I had overshot, I would have landed on that little peninsula up there, which would have been fine. But I just do not have enough speed or altitude to adjust this thing to turn it towards the landmass over there. So I'm gonna be off by like 40 kilometers, which is not ideal. I wonder if I were to twist this thing a tiny bit, can I get a little bit of sideways? Okay, that might have just caused me to lose control trying to do that. Uh-oh, 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 I was doing so good. Nose up, nose up, nose up. Too much. Okay, well, I guess we're starting our landing burn right now. And we're kind of twisting out of control. And we're going to run out of fuel. Well, that started out pretty good, and then it kind of fucked up hard. The Kerbals did survive, because the top of this thing is borderline indestructible. But I don't really know if I want to stick with that, because the engines are the expensive part, and they just got obliterated. Well, here, let me put a quick save here, just in case I decide I do want to stick with that. But then let me see if I can just go back to that earlier save and do it properly. The real thing here, like the issue here is coming in at an inclination, because it just makes it so much harder to get on target. So I think I don't remember which quick save is the right. I probably should have named these. Let's try this one. What? Okay, I guess we're not trying that one. Yes, please go back to the save that I was trying to load. Hopefully going back to the main menu will make my frame rate not shit when I re-enter this time. That definitely doesn't help. Not saying that was causing the problem, but having a decent stable frame rate definitely makes it quicker to adapt to stuff. Alright, where the fuck was my save? Splash down. No, that's not the save I want. I don't think it loaded the right save. This is the part where this game gets really frustrating, because all the load times are so slow. Okay, please load that quick save. Don't freak out this time and dump me back to main menu. Okay, is this pre or post burn? This is pre-burn. Okay, so I can hopefully fix that burn that I had. So let me just... Okay. Let's try this again. Come down a little bit steeper. Okay, that's moving me up too far. Hmm. this give me any info on... I can see my intended distance from target, but I don't know if it'll show me how far off inclination-wise I will be. Oh, that might have fucked it up. Getting this the right, getting this so I don't land in the water is tough. This is good enough. I think it's better than the last time. And it's coming down way less shallowly than last time, which should help. Oh, shit. Is this before or after I... Okay, this is before I did all those little adjustments. Why are you not aiming at the target? Okay, so that's overshooting a fair bit, but that should be enough that I can correct for, hopefully. Alright. Let's try this one more time. Oh, that's the problem. I had the fuel priority on the header tank set up, so it was using that first. Okay. My engine set up again. Okay. Landing attempt 2. Fast forward to where the reentry starts. Oh, I am pointing way the wrong direction. Okay. Now an atmosphere. So let's try this again. Alright. Still in the upper atmosphere, so I'm not going to see much movement there. Alright, how is my trajectory looking right now? Still overshooting by quite a bit. But hopefully as I get into the denser atmosphere I can make up for that with my angle of attack. Okay. Is this moving at all? Not really. very careful not to go too far past 90, because if I do, this entire thing will spin backwards and it'll be a whole thing. Oh, there's a space center right there. I'm gonna blow straight past it. I'll see at this point I just want a good landing. If I have an inaccurate landing, that's fine too. Of course, then I have to deal with landing on uneven terrain, but, you know, we'll deal with that when we get there. Yeah. Probably just stop decelerating so much and let myself land up there somewhere, because I don't want to land in the water. I mean, landing in the water is way safer, but it's less interesting. Okay, I think I can make it to that little archipelago lowland thing. Definitely not going to hit the Space Center. I think that's safe to say. I have landed this multiple times. But at some point, I'll do a entire stream just trying to land this thing at the Space Center from an equatorial orbit. It's so much easier because then it's all just prograde, retrograde, and how much pitch you have, and that's it. Oh, I don't even know if I'm gonna make it to this. Oh, I'm coming down hard. Okay, I gotta nose down. I mean, yeah, flaps. There are glitchy ships you can make that literally use flappy wings to generate like infinite thrust, but that kind of feels like it's going against the spirit of things maybe a little bit. Okay, I want to get nose down just so I stop slowing down so much, because I want to keep my vertical velocity down, but I want to get my horizontal one. I want to keep it relatively high, because horizontal is very easy to burn off. I just want to slowly, you know, wingsuit my way over here. If I can land like right there. Although I wonder if I can just pitch myself this way a little bit. Oh. and not kill myself like last time, please. Okay, thrusters back off. Let's just do this naturally. Nope, nope, nope. Nose down, nose down. That actually worked really well to rear. Okay, that's good to know for the future. Like a little bit of thruster, a little bit of yaw in the thruster is super effective for redirecting yourself. This is gonna be. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough altitude. Like it seems like I have a lot, but I'm actually. I'm falling at 61 meters per second. So, and if I keep pitching up like that, that just kills my horizontal velocity even more. If I'd known about that yawing thing, I would have aimed for this little island. Because that's going to be like perfect distance. Oh, I'm not going to make it. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Why you doing that? Why are you doing that? Nope, nope, nope. As I'm in a flat spin right now. That's not ideal. Okay, nose down. I need to gain some velocity, not like this. Oh god, I had such good control of it. Okay. Because once it's like this, it's kind of over. I should have quick saved more. Alright, engines are on. Nope, nope. Yeah, once you're spinning, you're done. Okay. I had at least one save somewhat recently, right? Let's see where this one is. I think it was still in pretty high altitude, but that might give me enough time to burn retrograde a little bit and maybe aim for the Space Center better. I don't know if this is actually interesting at all. It's just something I wanted to do because it's been a while since I landed one of these things and it's kind of fun for me. So it's probably going to do it if I didn't stream anyway. Okay, so while I'm still this high up, I'm going to just put myself retrograde and I'm going to burn a little bit. Just to try to get myself closer to the Space Center. Actually, can I... Oh god, give me better control here. Let me turn towards the Space Center a little bit so I can force my inclination that way in the process. This is not ideal. Okay, that's about as good as I'm gonna get. Let's see if that's enough. It probably isn't. Okay, but if I add in... If I keep this thing tilted this way a little bit, that might be enough to force my... to use the aerodynamics to force it this way, you know, force it to the west a little bit. Probably not, but hey, who knows? This seems to be increasing my horizontal... What? Why is that? It doesn't make any sense. Trying to come in at a very sketchy angle. I don't know if this is having any of the effect that I wanted to. Let's just go back to our original plan, and then I can use that yaw trick to hopefully, once I slow down, to turn myself towards the land. I mean, in reality, these four flaps would all move independently, and they'd have way finer control, and they wouldn't be controlled by a dude with a slider just moving the slider back and forth. So, like the basics are the same, but the specifics are where it's very different. And again, this entire mission could have done with a single capsule, and it would have taken like 5 minutes, and it would have been way easier and way cheaper. But I wanted to land a starship, so now I'm landing a starship. When it works so well, and it's so clean, and it just looks so good. But it's like that final approach, you know, getting it accurate is tough, but it's mostly just that I'm fucking up on the initial entry burn and I'm not getting that right. But it's you've got to keep enough horizontal velocity so that you don't go into a flat spin, basically. So you need to get some lift in the body, but you also don't want to blow past your target. So and you also want to get as close to the ground as possible before you start burning, because that means that you save as much fuel as possible. But you also have to do it soon enough that you can actually use the engines to gain control and land. So this is going to be a pretty close landing to the Space Center, relatively speaking. If I can pull this down further, it's gonna be tough. I don't really want to land in the water, but I may have to. Also, if I had my center of mass tuned more finely, there'd be a lot less of this wobbling. It's just like right now I'm just having to like just futz with it to get it stable. But if you get the center of mass just right, it's pretty stable the whole way down. Okay, so this is going to be very, let me quick save again. If I turn the thrusters on and just start very carefully yawing myself a bit, will that be enough to push me towards the land? Or is it too early for that? Am I going too fast for that? Just a little bit. Can't tell if it's working. if I slow down a lot, if I get way higher angle of attack than I intended to, okay, I'm now my landing point is now before the space center, which means that if I can pitch down properly, then I might be able to start yawing, maybe. Come on, look at how close it is. I can see the buildings. Don't fuck this up, me. Come on, twist it. Get flat. You're going the right direction, you just gotta go flat. Oh god, I'm so close. Oh god. Okay, this is looking good. I'm burning a lot of fuel on the thrusters, but let me quick save again just because I don't want to fuck this up. And I will, but I'd prefer not to. This is borderline. If I can just get this thing flat and going straight, I think this is very good trajectory I'm on. Okay, let's turn thrusters back off. Just focus on the flaps now. Got to get that nose down to keep my horizontal velocity up. I'm still 8,000 meter. Yeah. Actually, yeah, never mind. I need to slow down a bit more, I think. I don't know. I think it's okay, actually. Something's real weird with my center of mass right now. It's very high up, it seems like. Okay. I'm liking this right now. Let me quick saving again. Just keep quick saving. So this entire the green area here is totally flat. So anywhere on there is good with me. Closer to the buildings is better, but really I will take anything. I actually need to, do I need to slow down a bit more? So like right now my horizontal velocity is entirely dependent on my pitch. So if I pitch up, I start to slow down. If I pitch down, I start to speed up. And I just need to find the perfect point where I'm keeping enough horizontal velocity to not go into a spin, but I also want to be, keeping it, I want to be keeping it consistent with my vertical velocity, kind of. Not equal to it, but just like balancing the two to make sure I'm landing where I want to, and I'm landing straight and not completely losing control, which right now, this seems pretty fucking in control, if you ask me. Like, it seems like I'm going to blow past the Space Center, but I feel like that's a mistake I always make, where I think I'm going to go too far, so I try to slow down, and then I slow down too much, and I go into a spin, which I don't want. Let's just keep it nice and steady. I don't know the exact proper altitude to do the burn. I think like between 2,000 and 1,500 meters is ideal. Like in real life, it's way lower, but obviously here I've got a lot more limitations of what I can make the game do for me. God damn, look at this. Look at this. That was from a 60-degree inclined orbit. It only took 3 tries. Quick saving again. Fuck it. Remember, the hardest part of this is the flip. Like, this part is the easy part that took me 3 tries. Uh oh, okay, I'm starting to lose it. I'm starting to lose it. Nope, you stay right where you are, sir. Oh, okay, it's starting to spin. That's the bad part. That's the bad part. God damn it, it was so close. Alright, point this thing retrograde. Let's... Because once it starts spinning, it's so hard to... Like, it... I don't know if it's a bug how hard it gets to control or what. Oh, okay, I think it recovered, kinda. Nope, and then it's being weird. It's being weird. Why are you being weird? Oh, okay. Hang on, I need to load that save. I think I know what the issue is. I don't have the gimbal on my engines is turned off. I turned it off to make it look good. Because when I was in space, the engines would keep bumping into the other engines and it would look bad. But that gimbal is absolutely mandatory to make this work. Without that gimbal, I have no control authority. I just have to pray. Actually, it's not even that I have to pray. It's that I think it's physically impossible to land it properly. Because that gimbal is needed in order to flip the back towards the... You know, I'm going from parallel to the ground to in line with the retrograde marker, which is... Okay, hold on, hold on. Don't freak out, ship. Don't freak out, ship. Don't freak out, ship. Oh, okay. I guess we're doing the landing burn right now. This is probably... No, this is too high up. I'm not going to have enough fuel, I don't think. It's also overcorrecting a lot for some reason. Why are you spinning? Why are you spinning? Stop spinning. It's not a good trick. It's a lie. It's a lie. Stop spinning, you fucker. Okay. Nope, that didn't happen. Didn't happen. Quick save. Okay, I'm going to load this one that's a little bit higher up so I have time to do that without it flipping out and losing control. The problem is when you load a quick save, when you're in space, it's fine because you're in fucking space. But when you're in the dense parts of the lower atmosphere and you're being controlled by just these 2 flaps, and then the flaps load in and they kind of spaz out for a second while the physics load in, it's kind of annoying. And also, this game refuses, like, you have these windows to control things, and I can pin them in place so that they don't go away. But those pins just disappear when I load a save, which is just really good UI design, if you ask me. There we go. Okay, let's quick save this again now that I have the gimbal on. I mean, I'm like pretty much perfectly set up to land on the runway, or land on top of the VAB, actually. No, okay, I wouldn't land on the top of the VAB. I could maybe land on the launch, like land on the launch clamps. Nope, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Don't do that. I'm not ready for that yet. Not ready for that sort of commitment. Damn it. Okay, that just... Because it flared up like that for no reason, it took all of my horizontal velocity, and now I'm spinning. Stop spinning. Please stop spinning. Why are you spinning? Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. I feel like I solved this problem at one point, and I forget how I solved it. I think it might just be that you have to stay like near the landing. You have to be nose down until the last second, because that'll make sure that you're still maintaining horizontal velocity and not going into a spin. And then when you do the flip, the flip overflips, and then so you're basically pointing your engines back, like diagonally into the direction of movement, and that'll kill off that extra horizontal velocity, I think. So let's not flare up. Let's keep these flaps, you know, reasonably far up. Not that far up. Let's not be crazy. Let's not be crazy. That's just way more nose down than I intended. Okay, okay, okay. Now you're doing too far the other way. Nope, 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 nope. Too much, too much. I don't want to lose my speed. Okay, okay. We're getting real low now. Just gliding in. Okay, let's do 1,000 meters and see how that goes. Alright, flaps, flaps, retrograde, thrusters, engines. Engines on. Gear down. Oh, that's too much. That's too much. Too much. Nope, we're good. We're good. We're good. Just follow that retrograde marker down. Just follow it right on down. Okay, so that was actually too high up. I probably could have done like 500 meters there. Because that was pretty much perfect. A little bit of overcorrection, but that's how it's supposed to look, except closer to the ground. That was way too high up, man. Look at that. I don't know why I put my gear down. Just ignore that. Oh, God. Oh, God. I put my gear down for no reason, and then it flipped out, and I think we're okay. There we go. Okay, so that was almost perfect. I want to try it one more time and just see if I can do it from a lower altitude. See if I can get it at like 600 meters or 500 meters and see if that makes it even cleaner. Because that was pretty fucking clean. Okay, so that's the trick. You gotta stay basically nose down, you know, down like 15 degrees, so that you maintain that horizontal velocity until the last second, and then the engines are the thing that kill that, rather than flaring up. Because like you keep the nose up for most of the reentry to slow it to because you know, orbit is all horizontal velocity, so you want to bleed off the most of it. But then once you get down to like airplane speeds, you know, subsonic speeds, you gotta be real careful. Okay, so let's aim for 500 meters. Let's be daring with it. Because I was floating my way down for a while there. Oh, let's get nose down a little bit. Just a little bit. I forget how high up the real Starship does it. I want to say like... I want to say it's less than a kilometer. It might be like 300 meters. This is way too much. Okay, okay, that's... We're doing it right now. Oh, that's too far. That's too far. That's too much. That's too much. Ooh, okay, that's no good. Okay. So that might have actually worked at that height, except that my engine's overcorrected, so I was basically going nose down with the engines on, which is not good. So I think when I ignite the engines, I need to do it at less than full thrust, because that's just being... Because I need the force of the engines to the engine gimbal to basically torque my entire ship to kick the ass of it out and point it butt first into the direction of movement. But at full thrust, I'm just whipping that thing way too hard, and it can't control it properly. Okay, let's start to flare up a little bit. Okay, let's do it here. Oh, still too much. Oh, come on. We still got it. We still got it. Okay, I think we got it. So that was like 800, 700 meters, something like that. Let's come down right on that runway. Come on. Right on that runway. Oh, I decelerated too much and I'm now going up. That's a problem. Look at that. I know it took a few tries, but I'm still pretty fucking happy with that. Because that should be 100% recovery rate. Landing on the runway or on the... Like, landing within this area is 100% recovery. I'm pretty fucking happy with that. Cover vessel. Now just imagine how cool it would have been if I did that in one run without having to reload a bunch. Let's see, was that 100% recovery? Just a reminder, that shit, this isn't like stupid video game shit. This is real life at this point. Like it's 100% value. Hell yeah. So that mission only cost me 300,000, which is still way overpriced for how much for a stupid, just a crew recovery mission. But considering that entire ship is 1.8 million, I think, and it only cost me, I got almost full recovery from all of it, even counting the fuel spent. That's pretty good, if you ask me. I was gonna do a, start designing the ship for a Moho mission, but I'll probably do that next time. I don't even have the option of... Actually, I might be able to do an Eve mission, too. And that would probably be... Like, I think where I am career-wise, I think that actually would be very lucrative to do that. Eve missions are a nightmare, but I think I have the... I have my nuclear air-breathing engine now, which that should make it relatively trivial. anyway, I think that's enough for now. This was not intended to be a long stream, and that I intended that to take like an hour total, and it took 2.5. But that's fine because I feel really good about how that landed. Keep in mind that was from a 60-degree inclination. That wasn't even, you know, when you're coming from equatorial, then you're coming in from this way. You got tons of time. You can see the Space Center. You can very carefully adjust your pitch so you land somewhere in this area. But I was coming down over the ocean, and I twisted that thing mid-flight. I'm figuring it out. I'm very okay with that. Anyway, thank you for watching. Goodbye.